So as we come into the Word today, we are loosely going over the Sent series and looking at the hope that is delivered to us at Christmas time. Now, for those of you who are doing it in a small group and those of you who have looked at the book, you'll see that really it's broken down very similar to how we light the Advent candles, and each candle has a meaning, and each part of this little book has a very specific topic, looking at the hope, the joy that we have at Christmas time. And I apologize that we can't follow it specifically in order the same way that we light the Advent candles, simply because of the way that Katrina and I do the rotation of the churches. But truly the message is the same, regardless of what order you hear it, and it's all intertwined. And so really there's no chronological right or wrong to how we hear God's message. It's all a matter of how we bring it into our hearts. And sometimes when we talk about hope, it's hard for us to really, truly embrace pulling it into our hearts. With so much that is going on in the world today, so much turmoil, so much fighting, as we look at the Middle East, and all of the countries that are fighting, Syria having this massive civil war, and Iran ready to, the threat that Iran wants to eliminate Israel from the map. And then we look at the Israel and Palestinian battles, and then of course we throw ISIS into the mix, and the entire Middle East is just a mess, as it has been for most of all of our lifetimes, right? I mean, anybody here ever know a time when the Middle East had a time of peace and joy? I'd like to share just a little bit from the book of Ezekiel. But before I do that, I want you to remember that Ezekiel was a prophet who was exiled to Babylon. So let's look at this historically for a moment. This was a time, about 600 BC, give or take. Don't worry about the specifics. But this was a time when the Assyrian kingdom was sort of controlling parts of things, but the Babylonian reign was coming in and starting to conquer. And then there was an Egyptian influx that was trying to fight things through. And then, of course, there's the people of Israel that are just being slaughtered, being exiled. So if we look at it in the terms of today to then, names have changed, but the events are sort of the same. That Ezekiel was living through, honestly, sort of what the Syrians are living through today. I mean, we just see them as people from over there that are being pushed out of their country. And really, this is exactly what Ezekiel was going through. An entire people group needing to leave their home. Exactly what we're seeing on the news today. And yet Ezekiel had this love and this power of being in the presence of the Lord, and he was truly proclaimed to be a prophet as he came from a priestly family. But that wasn't the only thing going wrong for Ezekiel, the fact that he was exiled and he was pushed into another land. Because he was able to live pretty free. He had his own house. He was able to make a living, take care of things. But then his wife died, or was dying, and he wasn't allowed to mourn openly for his wife, because that would be seen as a sign of weakness of Israel at the time. And so here he is with all of these things going wrong, foreign land, and the idea that he had just lost hope. And he says, "The hand of the Lord was upon me, and he brought me out by the Spirit of the Lord, and he sent me in the middle of a valley, and was full of bones. He led me back and forth among them, and I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley, bones that were very dry. And he asked me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I said, O sovereign Lord, you alone know. I love that part. Because that's how we pray today, right? We look at things that are going on in our lives, and honestly, in our hearts, we don't know how it's going to turn out. And sometimes we sort of feel like we're giving up. We start to lose that hope. We don't want to really admit that we're losing hope. We don't want to admit that things aren't going quite right. So, right, we pray in certain ways. We pray in that sense of like when we talk about the Lord's Prayer, right? Your will be done. Right? Sometimes we take that and we go, look, Lord, it's whatever, you're going to make it happen. I guess we'll just deal with it. It'll, right? And we sort of pray with this defeatist, like Charlie Brown, Eeyore kind of, all right, Lord, I guess we'll just get through life. Right? We don't pray with a true joy or a hope that no matter what happens on the other side of it, God is there, God is with us, Emmanuel. And it'll be fantastic. And so we just put it back on God. That's how we pray. All right, God, whatever you decide, God, you make it happen. That's what Ezekiel does. He's looking in this vision, he's looking at all these dry, dead bones, and God's going, what do you think? You think we can bring them to life? Ezekiel's like going, I guess if you can, Lord, whatever you make happen, that's what will happen. And God calls him out. Right? Then he said to me, this is Ezekiel speaking, that God said to him, prophesy to these bones and say to them, dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says to these bones. I will make breath enter you, and you will come to life. I will attach tendons to you and make flesh come upon you and cover you with skin. I will put breath in you, and you will come to life. Then you will know that I am the Lord. And so I prophesied as I was commanded. And as I was prophesying, there was a noise, a rattling sound, and the bones came together, bone to bone. I looked, and tendons and flesh appeared on them, and skin covered them. But there was no breath in them. That it had happened, and it did it as far as what God said to do. I could make these bones turn back into bodies, but they weren't really alive. Because maybe my hope in God wasn't quite there. Maybe I was still sort of doubting things. Maybe I wasn't really sure about the presence of God. Maybe I didn't really trust God's power. They were there, but they weren't alive. Isn't that how some people see Christmas? Isn't that how we often look at the holiday season? God's here, but is he really here? Do we really have the hope that Christmas offers? I mean, we can look at this on one standpoint. We can look at it as the church. Because many churches will look at this and go, look, if we just give everything over to God, trust him fully, and he will bring revival. Because if we were to read this all the way through, this is what God is showing Ezekiel. He's going, look, I know things are bad. I know that I have punished Israel because you turned away from me. Remember the sermon last week? God's not fixing this. Right? Where do you think the Israelites were at this point in their life? God ain't fixing this. God allows them to suffer. God punishes them for letting go, for turning their backs. But then says, I still love you. And I'm telling you, if you give everything back to me, if you give me your heart, my life will breathe into you again. There will be revival. Churches look at this and go, man, if we could just have the faith and the hope of Ezekiel, our church will shout out into these communities. But what about on a personal level? Christmas time. The idea of hope. It's pretty much the making of almost every Christmas movie, right? Every Christmas story. The Christmas Carol. Right? Would Bob Cratchit have hope that Tiny Tim would live? At the end of it, did Ebenezer Scrooge have the hope that he would turn his life around? Did George Bailey have the hope, the faith in God above? The money showed up. The company was saved. But how many individuals, how many times in our own hearts have we come into the Christmas season and we go back out of it, we're like going, I don't know if God was really there. I don't know if I have any more hope for the new year than I did a month ago. How many people will walk into churches on Christmas Eve, and it's probably about the only time of the year they show up, and they expect some great boom. Then the day after Christmas shows up, and they're like, I don't know that God was really there or not. How many times has God muted our hope? When the birth of John the Baptist was foretold, the angel Gabriel came to his father Zechariah. And he told Zechariah, here's what's going to happen. Your wife's going to have a baby. And this baby is going to be phenomenal. Great things are going to happen. And after he explained all of it and how important it was going to be to the people of Israel, how important it was going to be to the people of the world, Zechariah asked the angel, goes, how can I be sure of this? I'm an old man, my wife is well along in years. And the angel answered, I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God. And I have been sent to speak to you and tell you this good news. And now you will be silent and not able to speak until the day this happens, because you did not believe my words, which will come true in their proper time. How often have we heard God's word? How many times have we experienced it in our lives? How many times has the presence of the Lord